Good morning, our dear angels of Little Angel Academy. Once again, I welcome you to the Little Angels e-learning portal. As you already know my name, Uncle Obrimpong. First of all, I would like to advise you on the application of the hand sanitizer, just as I've applied mine. And also, don't forget to use your nose mask whenever you are going out. Today, I'll be taking the BS2 class through a religious and moral education. And our topic for today is worship. First and foremost, you may be asking what worship is. Now, in our normal days or in our everyday life, we do worship directly or indirectly. So, how do we worship? Mommy sends you, Kwame, go and fetch me water. You go. Ajo, go and buy me tomatoes. You go. It's a form of worship. In simple terms, worship is a way of honoring somebody or an object. That is for short. Let's come to for the sake of our lesson, we will define worship as a means of showing respect and honor to God or an object of worship. A means or ways of showing respect and honor to God or an object of worship. Now, in Ghana here, we have three main religions. As we all know, we have three main religions. We have the Christianity, the Islamic, and then the African traditional religion. All these three religions do believe in God, and each of them has got a special name for God. When it comes to the Christian aspect, they call him God as in English, but sometimes you can call him Onyankopon and so on and so forth. When it comes to the traditional aspect, they also call him God, but the Arabic language, or in the Arabic language, they call him Allah. When you come to Ghana here, we have so many languages. That is why you get the Akans calling him Onyankopon, the Evers calling him Mawu, the Nzemes calling him Nyamele, and so on and so forth. They are all names that we give to God. Let's move on to the Christian aspect. The Christian aspect. What are some of the things that Christians do in terms of worship or in time of worship? Now, who is a Christian? In simple terms, you can say a Christian is someone who follows Christ or a believer in Christ. A believer in Christ. You are called a student of Little Angels Academy because you attend Little Angels Academy. The same thing applies to Christianity. If you are a Christian, it means you do follow Christ. How do they worship? They worship in a place called church. And their leader is called a pastor. I know we have a lot of you whose parents are pastors and so on and so forth. And even if your parent is not a pastor, when you go to church, you do see your pastor. Sometimes you do call him. So the leader of Christian is a pastor. He is the one who ushers them in terms of church service. Now they have a sacred book called the Holy Bible. That is the book that the Christians use. It is in this book that they have all their doctrines, all the practices, the do's and don'ts of Christians are all found in this Holy Bible. It contains 66 books in all, which has 39 as in the Old Testament and then 27 as in the New Testament. The Old Testament, which talks about the creation of the world, the apostles, and so on and so forth, and also the prophecies of Jesus Christ. And then when we come to the New Testament, it also talks about the works of the apostles, how Jesus Christ was born, the descendants of Jesus Christ, and so on and so forth. That is where you find the New Testament. We have four books which begins the New Testament, and we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and we call those four books the books of the apostles because it was written by the apostles and it talks about Jesus Christ. And their main days of worship are Sundays and Saturdays. These are the 2 days that Christians normally worship. Away from Christians, let's shift our attentions to Islamic. When we talk of Islamic worship, or when we talk of a Muslim is a person who follows the doctrines of Islam. And Islamic was being established by a prophet called Prophet Muhammad. Peace be unto him, as we always attach to his name whenever it's been mentioned. Muslims do pray 5 times in a day. I said how many? 5 times. They pray 5 times in a day. But as for Christians, I didn't say that one because they don't have specific time for praying. A Christian can pray at any time. But Muslims, they have 5 specific time that they pray every day. But before they pray, they perform something called ablution. Ablution. When we talk of ablution, it is the washing of some part of the body before worship. The washing of some part of the body before worship, especially the face, the ears, the mouth, the nose, the hands, and then the feet. They wash the hair, the face, the mouth, the nose, the ears, the hands, and then the feet. Why do they do so? They do so because washing of the hair, it means that they are cleaning away all the debts, all the spiritual and natural debts that they encountered through their hair. The ears, maybe you listen to something that was not good. You have to clean before you have encounter with God. The face, maybe your eye watched something that wasn't pleasant. You have to wash it away. The mouth, what you said. The nose, what you breathed. And then the hands, whatever you touched. And then your feet, wherever you went to, that is not what pleasing to God. You have to wash it away before you have an encounter with God. And then they also meet in a place called mosque to have their worship. They also have a holy book called the Holy Quran. The Quran has 114 books. But Muslims do not call it books, they call it surahs. Yes. And it begins with a book called Fatiha. That means the beginning. Fatiha, the beginning. So that is it for Muslims. Anytime a Muslim wants to be blessed, he or she must go through something called zakat. This word. And it is very, very, very important when you come to the Islamic worship. It is the giving of alms. What does it mean? It means giving to the needy and then the poor. So Muslims respect this practice very much. Then let's come to the traditional aspect of worship. A traditionalist is someone who follows the doctrines of an idol or who follows or worships an idol. They do not have specific day of worship, but sometimes they apportion certain days for worship and they call those days sacred days. So when you are listening to the radio, you hear something like Akweside, Monojo, Kru, Bana, and so on and so forth. They are all sacred days that the traditionalists worship. They worship in a place called the shrine. The shrine, that is where they worship. And their leader is called a fetish priest. A fetish priest. Just as we have pastor in Christianity, we also have a fetish priest in African traditional religion. At their shrine, they perform something called sacrifice. sacrifice to their gods. Sometimes they kill animals, sometimes they prepare food and then they give to their gods. And they also perform libation. This word, it is very, very vital in African traditional religion. The libation is the pouring of wine or drink to the gods, and then it serves as a form of prayer, which is very, very vital in the African traditional religion. So, before I draw the curtains, I would want to once again remind you of the application of your hand sanitizer and then your nose mask. Till we meet again, I would also remind you that we have some notes and then exercises on the Little Angels Academy e-portal. You must go there, watch the video, read the notes, and then answer the questions below it. Till we meet again. Bye bye. I love you all.
So me cut down on me dream responsibility.